Guten Tag. That's German. Today, I'm going to talk about four problems a good translation can solve for a manufacturing company. I'm Wendy Pease of Rapport International, where we connect you to anyone, anywhere in the world by providing high quality written translation and spoken interpretation in over 200 languages. Join us every Thursday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time as we go live discussing translation trends and questions and cultural fun facts and global marketing. And so today we're focusing in on manufacturing companies and in the ways that good quality translation can really help. If you've got questions, please put them in the chat. If you're here, tell me where in the world you're from. I always like knowing who's here and if you have questions that I can answer. So, if we go to our four things that a good quality translation can help with the manufacturing company, number one is it can increase your sales. You know the HubSpot flywheel where you attract, you engage, and you delight? Well, in the attract phase, people are going to the internet and they're searching for what they want. And if you only have content in one language, you're losing all those people that speak another language. So you don't have to translate your whole website. You can just put a landing page in, or you can do a microsite, but you want to answer those questions those people are searching for. They've got a problem, they're trying to solve it. And if you're a potential solution, why not be there? So you've got your website, then you're going to trade shows. A lot of them are global now. In one of the podcast episodes, I interviewed somebody who's doing international business, and he's never left the United States because the people are all coming into the trade show here. And that's how he's making his connections and building his networks. So if you have information at the trade show, then you can provide in language information to people. So when they go back, they can share it with the other people that they work with. And oftentimes you can reuse information from your website in your brochures that you're using for a trade show. So with a good strategy, you can figure out how to leverage content. Now, think about your packaging. It's not uncommon to go into a store in the United States and see three languages: French for Canada, English for the US and parts of Canada, and then Spanish for Spanish speakers in the US and then also in Mexico. And they'll call it their North American packaging. So think about where your packages are being seen and what languages you need to have on them. Going back to our theme of the day with Guten Tag in German, if you're marketing in Europe, you need to have the packages labeled for all the countries in the European Union. Don't forget your social media. That's where people are originally hearing about different companies. So if you're doing social media, add a little translation into it. You're writing it in English and you probably have a schedule that you're putting it out on. Add a little German or Spanish or wherever your target market is that you're starting with, and that'll help increase attracting those customers in. And then when you want to engage them, you don't have to have multilingual employees. Think about what could be written, like on your chat bot on your website. Once you build a chat bot, you can easily transition that over into another language. So if somebody comes in, you can provide the same information. So number one, you can certainly increase your sales with attracting and engaging people with the language that they want. Now let's talk about delight. So this is number two of our list of four. This is increasing loyalty. If you have a manufacturing company, you're trying to develop those relationships with your clients because there's lots of opportunities for keeping them to increase your revenue or to upselling them. So have you thought about your user manuals? Research shows that if you do a good job in your marketing and selling in language, but you don't have your customer support or your user manuals in language, those clients are going to leave because they can't actually use your product. So make sure you're translating your user manuals. For your customer service, again, you don't have to hire bilingual people if you can think about the frequently asked questions people come in with. Create a landing page, have something that you can give to, email to people if they have questions. That can cover about like 80 or 90% of the questions that you're getting. So make sure you translate it, reuse it, rather than having a human have to answer the same questions all the time. Are you upselling? Are you providing information in their language through emails or through account management? Think about all the opportunities for upselling that you can do if you add a little bit of translation. Don't forget to ask for referrals in people's languages, because you're relating to them in their language. They'll want to help you, particularly if they're happy with what you're providing for them. And then if there's any additional training, if you're creating it in one language, translate it into another. You can put it on a protected password area so people can get into it and read it. And that same training can go in to training your employees. So think about how you can leverage that across both places. Number 3 on our list of 4 is translation can help you avoid liability or to follow regulations. So if you're manufacturing something and you're selling it in Europe, oftentimes you're going to need a CE mark, which is a safety mark that you followed all the regulations. You need it in electronics, you need it on toys, you need it on certain cosmetics. And so make sure that CE mark is translated, because that is a regulatory process that you have to go through. Patent protection. Have you filed your patents in other countries, and are you following for that? That's really important to have translated and do it in high quality so you know that you're fully protected. There's regulatory laws and rules across all sorts of industries, that may require translation, or make sure that you have your safety documents translated so you can provide them if you're ever audited. How about your safety practices? This is something that you can communicate to your customers and to your employees, because both of them are going to care. And so how do you provide translations of that to make sure everything's legit and safe and you're following the regulations? And then training. Once you've trained somebody or you've developed a training program, if you translate that into another language, it makes it much easier to keep people safe, help them understand what they're doing. And it's certainly something you can use over and over again. And number 4, it improves your global credibility. If you are a global company and you're doing only one language, it can make it really hard to hire, because you're not attracting people who are fans of your company and might be able to work with you. And it doesn't mean that you have to teach them English. I've got tons of other content about how you can attract, train, and engage employees even if you don't share the same language. So that might be another good video, but you can go to our website and read more about that. There's a whole case study called Boston Centerless. But, back to number 4 for translation for manufacturers, makes it easier to hire if you're including languages in all your outreach. It takes pressure off of bilingual employees. There's a podcast on the Global Marketing Show, I think it's number 4, with Randy Roger, who talks about the pressure bilingual employees can be under when they have to translate. She had a marketing assistant that was supposed to schedule events that took a week, a month to actually do the translation. And so that was a week, a month where she wasn't doing her primary job. If you are not doing the translation from a strategic position, and you have distributors and you have employees around the world, they may take it upon themselves to do a translation. So you could have different translations going out all over the world. You could have different levels of quality. You could have different messages. You could have things that aren't translated right that could lead to liability or safety issues. So if you take a more strategic approach to it and think about what needs to be done, you're going to make sure things aren't getting lost in translation. And it also increases your physical expansion possibilities, because you are now relating to people around the world. And if you find pockets of people that are interested in you, it gives you a basis of which you can expand easier, because they're relating to you or they're demanding more. And then the last point for improving global credibility. It gives you a certain panache. Now, that's a French word, not a German word. If you don't know what it means, it's kind of a credibility, a recognition that you really are a company to be dealt with, because you're not just in one country, you're global. You don't relate in just one way, and maybe you're not inclusive. This shows that you're open to working with people from around the world. So if you are in manufacturing or you know somebody in manufacturing, certainly share this with others. Always love to have your feedback. And if you want to learn more information, certainly go to the podcast, which is called The Global Marketing Show, or you can go to our website, rapporttranslations.com. We have a learning center and you can search for anything there. If you can't find content, let us know. We'll create it or point you in the right direction. So I hope this helped. Certainly love to hear your comments of what you agree with, don't agree with, or what I may have forgotten. Thanks so much and have a good day. Guten Tag.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, or you can keep watching. And don't miss out on new posts by subscribing to our channel. And if you want to talk to Rapport International about all your translation and interpretation needs, or about growing your business into new markets, use the link below for a free 30-minute consultation.